Welcome to Shore Perspectives, a community feature of WESR Radio, highlighting the spirit of the shore from those who call it home.
My name is Martha Joyal, and I live right here in Nancock.
And you are going to be celebrating something very special on Tuesday. What happens?
100th birthday.
On Tuesday.
10th child in a family of 12. The oldest was married by the time I was born because I have a niece who's 1 year younger than myself. But it was good. It was a big family, and we were tight together and everything. The older ones looked out for us. We always had somebody we could go to, and some of us latched on to one of the eldest, or we all picked our favorite, I guess. The younger ones in the family, I was one of the three youngest, and the older ones looked out for us. Birthdays, Christmas, all holidays. We always had an older sister that took care of things. I think the encouragement was my mother. My mother was the strength of Gibraltar. She was a strong lady and gentle. And I think that's what held us. My mother was a wonderful cook. She had a German background, and she cooked German style. We just all ate heartily.
As you look back, other than your mother, was there another strong presence in your life?
Yes. Well, my older sisters were, particularly those closer to me in age, not the ones at the top of the family because they married, but my sister Eleanor was very close. There was two brothers between us, but she looked out for me a lot when I was growing up. I can tell you a funny story. My father loved Caruso, and he played these big Caruso records on this old record player. But my father was long gone, and my mother left Eleanor and I home. She was to watch me, and Eleanor said, well, we can make flower pots out of phonograph records. So she goes, gets Papa's Caruso records, and she put them in the oven, and when they got soft, like this, and she made beautiful flower pots. She said, look, it even has a hole in the middle. Well, we almost had a hole in the middle when my mother got home. My mother liked the Irish tenors, so we never touched her records, but my father had passed on, and these would just lay in some place where we could get at them. So that was the end of Crusoe. Someone always was doing something that was off the record, and you lived with it. We lived up north in Plattsburgh area, and my husband was going to school there, but then the climate beat us terrible, and the fact that you can't do farming unless you inherit the farm. So we moved south toward the city, back to my roots, and we both had jobs, and we were successful.
And how did you find the Eastern Shore of Virginia?
By my husband's fishing. He loved fishing, and he would go further and further, and he found Quimby. So by that time, we had reached the point where we bought a campsite in Quimby. We had a trailer, and we traveled back and forth as much as we could, because we were raising a teenager too.
What is your favorite thing about the Eastern Shore?
I think the people. I always was anxious to learn different things. Good teacher. And I think that's what I liked the best. The church. I loved the church when we moved here. A neighbor was a member of this church, and she invited us to come, and we just fit right in. If you had asked my husband, he would say, of course, the fishing and the clamming, and I didn't go for that. In fact, I ruined the oysters the first time I cooked them. I cut off everything that was black, and there wasn't anything left to cook. It's just a comfortable place to be, and I'm glad we didn't leave. I always worked outside the home. I always had a full-time job someplace, but I worked through the church. I was in church constantly, and I worked on the projects we had. Oh, and then I was a joiner as I got older. I joined the women's club and any club that came along. And then I always was active when I joined. I still am a member of the women's club, but I was always active in their projects because they did such wonders with what the money they got in. Don't take life too seriously. You know, shrug it off. You know, if something happens, well, we'll fix it this way or that way. Look out for one another. Protect one another. And support them in what they do. That leads to tightness of the family. I always say roll with the punches. When something knocks you down, you have to roll and get up. That's all.
For Shore Perspectives and WESR Radio, I'm Kelley Gaskell.